Welcome woodblock print collectors and enthusiasts. It's been a while since we last did an unboxing, but today I have a great box of Japanese woodblock prints to open for you. And these are prints that we won at auction. Some of these prints are going to end up in our permanent collection, but most of them will be available on our Cross-Eyed Gallery website. So without further ado, let's get started. I can't find my trusty X-Acto blade, so I'll use brute force and some scissors today. As always, the prints are nicely packaged and protected. I think there's 17 prints in this box. One thing I'd like to note is that it always amazes me that many of the prints I find and buy are in better condition than prints in major national museums and other world-famous collections. It's exciting to look up a print I have and find a copy in the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston or the British Museum that's in worse condition than mine. And the first print, look at the brilliant color. It's got full margins, it's not backed, and the print quality is amazing. This print is from a collaborative series by Kunichika and Hiroshige III. Hiroshige III did the inset image of the landscape at the top, and Kunichika did the primary image. The series is called Tokyo Flowers and Scenic Spots, and Tokyo Flowers refers to characters from history and legend. This print shows the character Ichihara Kidomaru, and the story is that he struck a wild ox 3 times in the head and killed it. He then stripped the skin off and wore it and lay in wait for his enemy Yorimitsu to pass by. Eventually, Yorimitsu passed by with his men and saw this strange ox skin shape and ordered one of his men to shoot an arrow into it. At that point, Kidomaru leapt out of the ox skin with his sword and ran over to attack Yorimitsu. Yorimitsu, though, was faster and cut his head off. The story is that Kidomaru was so strong that his body kept fighting for many seconds after his head was cut off. It's a great story and a wonderful collaborative series by Kunichika and Hiroshige III. Next, let's see what we have here. These are 3 prints from the same series, also a collaboration, but this time between Kunisada and Hiroshige II in 1858. Each of the 33 prints in the series tells the story of a miracle of the goddess Kannon and how it relates to the 33 Kannon temples of the western provinces. This first print is number 20 in the series. It shows a baby that was abandoned in the mountains being attacked by a pack of wolves, and this villager's coming in to save him with a torch, and the wolves are flying around. It's a really dynamic print. I love the way that the image of the temple by Hiroshige at the top kind of blends into this primary image below. This print I don't know much about. It's number 33 in the series. It relates the story of a gold merchant named Nobumitsu. And that's why I like collecting Japanese prints, because there's so much to unpack, so much to learn. I love the way that the subtle gradations of the blue in the top image by Hiroshige and the blue in the bottom image by Kunisada relate to each other. It's a really interesting composition. And the third print here is number 6 in the series. It tells the story of Toshibe Sukaru, and you can see him on his horse as he's charging up the mountain in a rainstorm, the temple at the top with a beam of light shining down from the temple. This is another print I'm really going to have to study a little bit more. Next, we have a racist but powerful image by Kobayashi Kiyochika from the series Long Live Japan, 100 Victories, 100 Laughs. This one is called Agitation. It shows the Chinese propaganda machine in the background, hypnotizing the Chinese leaders in the foreground. Kiyochika was very active in political satire, and he followed the work of London journalist Charles Workman. Here's a picture by Charles Workman so you can see his style. Workman actually spent a lot of time in Japan. Wow, look how nice these are. Here are two prints by Kunichika from a small series he did called Actors in the Dressing Room. Much of Kunichika's work was focused on popular actors of the day. And here on the left-hand side, we see the actor Onoe Kikugoro preparing for a role in his dressing room. I really love how bright and open these prints look. On the right-hand side, we have Genosuke IV, who's trying on a wig for a female role. Remember that only men could play the roles in kabuki theater. This is a series that was done later in Kunichika's career, and I don't see it come up for auction very often, so I'm very happy to have these two. This print was done about 20 years before the ones we just saw. It's also Kunichika from a series called Spring Dyeing of Fashionable Patterns. This is a colorful series that focuses on these bold kimono designs. The actor in this print is Nakamura Shikan, and if you saw my previous video on the otokodate or street knights, this print falls squarely into that category. You can see the sword, the flute, and even the umbrella could be used as weapons by the otokodate. Ah, this should look familiar to you. It's another from that same Kunichika series, Actors Backstage. This is Ichikawa Danjuro IX, one of the most important actors of the Meiji period. He is credited with revitalizing kabuki theater for the modern era. On the left-hand side at the top, you can see that shelf has his name on it, Danjuro, and the fan coming in from the left-hand side also has his actor's crest, the Mimasu-mon, or 3 rice measure. Let's see what we have in here. It's a Kunichika print from 1868. It's actor Nakamura Shikan IV as Taira no Kiyomori. Taira was a 12th century samurai that established the Taira family as one of the most powerful that Japan had ever known. He's often depicted being tortured by the memory of the people that he'd killed, hence the flames of hell on his kimono. And here is a print by Kunisada on the left-hand side that was done before that and definitely influenced Kunichika's version. I do prefer Kunichika's print though, because I think the pose is a lot more dynamic. Wow, look at those bright reds. This is another series from late in Kunichika's career, from about 1890, from the series 6 Famous Places of Tokyo. The actor on the left-hand side is Onoe Kikugoro, playing the role of the unscrupulous chrysanthemum. Try saying that 3 times fast. And the actor on the right-hand side is Nakamura Kojiro. I don't know what role he's playing, but I do love these brilliant red triangle shapes, in the foreground. And in the background, you've got this very subtle landscapes, these monochromatic landscapes. It's a really interesting contrast. Look at the bleed through of the inks on the back of this print. It's a beautiful print from 1865 by Kunichika. It's titled Hydrangea in the 36 Flowers. This print shows an actor in the role of Kasumori Osen, who is a beautiful tea maid working at the Kagiya tea shop at the entrance to the Kasumori shrine. Of course, this is a male actor playing this role. You can see him coyly wiping down the tea tray, while in the background you have these gorgeous hydrangea flowers that are bigger than life. This looks familiar. Here is another print from the collab series by Kunichika and Hiroshige III, Tokyo Flowers and Scenic Spots. Hiroshige III did the inset image at the top with Mount Fuji in the evening, and Kunichika did the primary image. In this case, it's actor Bando Hikosoboro playing the role of Niki Dansho, who is a frequent villain in Japanese kabuki. He sometimes changes into a rat, and he's very recognizable in Japanese prints because he's almost always wearing that gray kimono with that same crest. Next, we have one from Kunichika's series, Mirror of Flowering Humanity, from 1878. The series focuses on the conflicts between traditional Japan culture and the influence of the West. This print is from one of Kunichika's most beautiful and detailed Bijin-ga series. I don't know much about it, unfortunately. I know the title is called Young Yuba. And in the background, we can see these bows hanging on the walls. It's a very interesting scene. I'm gonna have to research it and get back to you. We can see this print isn't backed. It's from that series I'm collecting, The Good and Evil Demon Mirror. It depicts the actor Iwai Shijaku playing the role of the female bandit Hitomaru no Oroku. This woman is a character in a play. I love the strong colors on the kimono and the subtle bokashi gradient in the background. You can see the silhouette of a castle. She's holding a naginata, which is a long spear-like weapon favored by female warriors. I love this series. I wonder if I'll ever be able to actually collect them all. Okay, let's see what's next. This is from the 1861 series, Contemporary Kabuki Actors Likened to 36 Flowers. It's a portrait of Sawamura Tanosuke III as Ushi Wakamaru. This is a really nice series by Kunisada, and the quality of this print is excellent. The character has long been a popular character in Japanese culture and literature dating back to the 14th century. He was known as a sharp-witted military leader, a very honorable man who helped people around him. Sometimes he was said to be on the naive side. What I really love about this print is the wood grain in the top. You can see it in the background, and also the cartouche that has the interesting variety of kanji styles and the flower border around it. And finally, let's see what we have here. It's two Hiroshige prints in this envelope. This is a nice quality print by Hiroshige III from his 1868 series, Famous Places in Tokyo. You can see the vendor booths that line the way towards the Kinryuzan temple in Asakusa. This show also shows the strong Western influence permeating Japan, with the people dressed in Western style clothing. And the final print I have for you is this print by Ando Hiroshige from his 1858 series, 36 Views of Mount Fuji. In the foreground, you can see the cherry trees on Asuka Hill, and in the background, you can see Mount Fuji. This print was done only 10 years before the previous print we saw by Hiroshige III. Ando Hiroshige, though, will always be the ultimate master of landscape prints in Japan. I hope you've enjoyed this unboxing. I'll have another unboxing video for you in a couple of weeks, and I'm working on a super special project that tells the true story of a drunken housewarming party for Kunichika in the 1800s. So stay tuned for that. Please like and subscribe, and happy collecting.